Hi everyone, welcome to my 2022 Fellowship Summit project. I'm here to talk about a situation that many resonate with and I have once resonated with in my own life. When I think about social and environmental justice or injustice, the first thing that comes to mind is the way so many communities are cut off from the access to know about what is happening in the area they live in. This was once my position. I didn't know what was going on in my communities, therefore I didn't know how to help. And that's why I'm coming to you guys today to talk about food apartheids, so you can take the first step in learning and helping your communities. Now, you may be wondering, what is a food apartheid? The term food apartheid describes the racist and oppressive system that creates inequitable food environments. Food apartheids exist in specific areas and cause less healthy, accessible, and affordable food options in certain neighborhoods. But, in simpler terms, when living or viewing a community impacted by food apartheids, you're going to see more convenience stores than grocery stores in a reasonable radius. This means more 7-Elevens in areas affected by food apartheids that offer enticing chips and sodas in their forefront than grocery stores that offer enticing salads or fruits in their forefront. And just to clarify, there's nothing wrong with the occasional chips, cookies, and sodas versus fruits, vegetables, and salads. It's about balance. And when this balance is hard to come by in certain neighborhoods, this is where the drastic effects of food apartheids take place. Based on this definition, I asked my fellows, who do you think are the main communities disproportionately affected by food apartheids? The answers were unanimous and all correct. Black, Indigenous, people of color, low-income communities. In contrast, I wanted to show just how much food apartheids affect these specific neighborhoods. So I asked the question, what do we see in neighborhoods that aren't as impacted by food apartheids? The answers I received proved a point. Here's one. There are some of the most well-resourced grocery stores in the world, and then you can go blocks and blocks and there can be no grocery store access or almost any fresh produce, but access to a lot of fast food. This answer definitely shows the contrast between more affluent neighborhoods' access to grocery stores than less affluent neighborhoods' no access to grocery stores. Just to give you guys some insight as to why I care so deeply about food apartheids is because I experience them in my day-to-day life. In my area code of El Cerrito, 94530, it's easy for me to walk 5 minutes and find a grocery store full of fresh fruit and vegetables. But at my mom's house in Richmond, area code 94806, it's easy for me to walk 5 minutes to find a KFC, a Starbucks, and a liquor store where all the food options are not the healthiest. I do definitely see the contrast of these two area codes. With my dad, I'm able to eat fresher, healthier food, as with my mom, she doesn't always have the funds and wants to even drive to the closest grocery store to get the most healthy food. So we do end up door dashing a lot and spending a lot more money to come across these healthier foods, or my mom ends up eating a lot of KFC. So you may be wondering, why are Black, Indigenous, people of color, low-income communities the most affected by food apartheids? The answer is largely credited to redlining. So, what is redlining? Redlining is the institutionalized racism intentionally designed to put minority communities at a disadvantage. By making residential security maps during the 1930s, federal programs established support for widespread home ownership by making home loans and mortgages more affordable. This is where the term redlining comes from. These maps were widely designed based on neighborhoods' racial and ethnic compositions. This process results in neighborhoods' economic decline, causing lack of basic services like healthcare, banking, fewer job opportunities, means of transportation, and limited access to nutritious food to put on the table. So here's a picture of the redline map. We see that neighborhoods in blue coloring are marked as best and still desirable. We see that neighborhoods marked in yellow are declining, and red as hazardous. On these maps, the areas marked in red coloring are areas that are most affected by food apartheids. These areas consist of Oakland, Richmond, some of San Francisco, and many more places. So yeah, in redline areas, we are bound to see way more convenience stores and fast food than we are in any other area. And my fellows find this statement to be conclusive. Comments such as, you actually have to drive out and go to stores with good healthy food, and the stores that are found are usually fast food chains, making it really hard for people in these areas to have access to healthy food. It's so important that the communities most affected by food apartheids know the issues that they're facing. One reason is because food apartheids have a huge and major effect on health. So what effects do food apartheids have on your health? Well, without access to fresh, good quality food, impoverished areas are subjected to hunger, poor diets, obesity, and other diet-related illnesses. I think we can all agree with the fact that it's not healthy to be eating chips and burgers every single day. And for a lot of people, this is the most accessible thing. And this is why we see African Americans and people of color so disproportionately affected in the healthcare system. It's oftentimes not even their fault. It's the circumstances they are brought into. A lot of people don't have the means for transportation to be able to drive to their nearest grocery store and get those foods. So eating what they can is what they're going to do. And we have to eat. So how can we end food apartheids? The answer is together. No. Well, there's a few things we can do. Surplus food sharing programs, federal assistance programs, and food pantries. I want us to take the time to help bridge the gap of food apartheid affected neighborhoods. I'll be doing this by making sandwiches and putting them in my community fridge in Berkeley, where a lot of homeless people and people who cannot afford food go to find these resources. This is the kind of change I want to see in my community. This is a step towards like food justice. This is a step towards humanity. So let's go make the sandwiches and put them in the community refrigerator and help bridge the gap of food apartheid.